Another good thing to help you pay attention to everything and help keeping you worshiping with others and help combat some of these bigger problems is you need to be able to listen, watch, and also, like I've always been saying, keep in sync with your fellow dancers. Doesn't matter if you're new to the dance and you're learning it, doesn't matter if you're an old hat and you're just wanting to learn something new or do something different with your expression, you still need to listen to the music because it helps you know and keep the beat with your feet. You need to be watching your fellow dancers and making sure that you stay in a circle, that your spacing is still similar. And that, of course, you also, if you're not the dance leader, you need to be watching to make sure if your dance leader decides to add something extra in, because they might know that during practice they decided that the music team decided to add an extra pause in there, so they maybe make something up and maybe put a little something to add into that. Or if you think that you know what's supposed to be coming up but it doesn't, you need to be able to follow with it, because a lot of songs too can be more music based and you need to be listening to your music for those cues to make the transitions. And because not everybody's the same with their transition when it comes to numbers or dance steps. Sometimes it can switch on a drop of a hat, or somebody decides to repeat part of a verse before they make the complete transition. So you need to be making sure that you're listening. And of course, that helps you also stay in sync, because if you're in sync, you don't get confused or wind up ahead of everybody or behind them. It's better to catch up because you can easily skip over a step. It's harder when you wind up ahead of somebody, especially if you're having a hard time keeping sync with something. Because I've had dances where it's a little hard to find the beat, but once I've set a rhythm, it's easy to stick with. And otherwise, it will also, when you wind up in sync with everybody, it gravitates through the entire circle and everybody's there. So when you get off sync, it's obvious, but you can easily fall back into it, whether it's repeating a step or just pausing for a second to let them catch up so you realize where everything's at. So the main point is, don't try to keep going if you're out of sync with everybody, because then you'll completely be off sync with everybody. You need to get back in sync, whether it's taking a moment to take a stop and breathe, and then as they catch up to you, and then you can keep going. Or if you realize you've fallen behind, figure out where they're at, and then make the necessary changes to get back in step with everybody. It works even for dance leaders, because I've done this too. It's easy for me if I have too much going on in my head, I misstep and I get out of sync with somebody, or I have too much going in my head and I forget to count on something, I can wind up off beat too. And I usually double check to make sure with everybody. I'm like, okay, yeah, we were on this beat. It does help. So that's something as a leader that I've learned to do, is I still have to look at people. I mean, yes, follow your dance leader is definitely one thing, but if I kind of do a slight mix-up, it's easy for me to look at somebody and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing, and then keep going, because even dance leaders, they can misstep once or twice, and it happens. So always give, and also, of course, be patient with everybody. And that means everybody, whether it be your leader who suddenly add a different step to something when they thought for some odd reason they were doing another one at a split second of a hat. And trust me, they'll get right back on it very quickly. You just gotta be patient with everybody, and even with the people who are in the circle, because sometimes somebody who just maybe came back from the kitchen to get a glass of water, they see that their favorite dance is in there and they'll jump in. So just make sure that you make the appropriate spacing and stuff, so you're always watching the circle. You're allowed to get lost in your prayer, but just be aware of everything. It's always good to be aware of everything. Of course, never be afraid to jump in when you have a new circle, or if you're a new person, because everybody should be at least willing to show you a dance step or two, or at least help you figure out the rhythm of it. So that's always good. And of course, if you're also joining a circle, just keep into the motion of the direction of it. That way you integrate slowly in the same direction. That way you just don't jump in and back something up, just start moving in the direction, even if you have to start dancing the moves right outside of it. That way it's like merging with a car and you can just merge right into dance. Just start making the steps as you're moving in the direction, and then you just merge into the circle very easily.